Hoje no nosso podcast, você vai ouvir uma entrevista com uma estudante britânica que estuda comunicação em uma universidade em Paris. É uma ótima oportunidade para treinar seu listening e aprender com a experiência de uma estudante internacional.
All right, today I have a special guest from France. Um, but she lives in France, but she's not from France. So, what is your name?
Hi, my name is Daniela Manuela de Abreu, and I'm 20 years old, and I now study in Paris. I'm in my second year of bachelor's studying French with international relations.
So, Daniela, how is French education system compared to UK's?
So, I actually go to the only British university in Europe, and I don't get the full French system. I kind of have the same schedule as I would as if I was going to a university in the UK, with not a lot of contact hours and not a lot of work. And from making friends here, I know that at my university we still follow the UK system. As grading, it's out of 100, and with the French is out of 20. And it's kind of funny because I know in the UK they're not very serious on attendance, but here they are very serious on attendance, and that's what my uni has started to incorporate as well.
And are you enjoying your classes? And do you have a favorite subject?
I would say I enjoy some of my classes. Some of them I'm not too big of a fan of, for example, with French grammar. The teacher, she's very nice, but I feel like sometimes grammar can be very boring because it gets repetitive, and then when you don't get it right, it's difficult. But I would say so far I choose my modules every semester, and my favorite module that I've done is social movements. And it was so interesting because they incorporated different social movements from different countries. We even did black rights in Brazil, and we talked about the 2019 protests that happened after Marielle died, and we even had a discussion about the carnival. And it's nice that they incorporated every single country, every single continent within this module.
Okay, let me ask another question about international experience. Yeah, what motivated you to study in France?
So it's kind of funny. This all started when I was around 13. In secondary school, high school in the UK, we have to choose if we study French or Spanish. And everyone picked Spanish, and I thought that's so similar to Portuguese. I wanted to be different. So I wanted to study French. And when it came to doing my A levels, I decided it was better to study French, continue it on so I wouldn't forget the language. And at A levels, when I was deciding my university course, I thought if I leave French now, I'm going to forget it. So I should continue it on at university. And I actually was so close to going to King's College London, but I thought if I want to learn French and improve my French, it's better to be living in a French speaking country so I can have the full experience. Because if I study French in the UK, I would speak English every single day, and I would only speak French at university.
Was it hard to adapt to the culture and the language?
I think at first I didn't think it would be too hard because I had some knowledge prior to coming here of French. But when I arrived, it was like a big shock for me because it was hearing French everywhere all the time, and because they're fluent in the language, it was too fast. So I would have to be like, I'm really sorry, can you speak slower? Or I don't really speak good French because I had a kind of lack of confidence. But after a while, it got easier. So I felt like I could understand them more because I started reading books in French and speaking French at school. And then I also started watching shows so I could improve my listening skills and I could understand them more.
And have you had any funny situations because of the language?
For me, I think something funny that happens all the time is I can say, especially like to my friends or something, have you watched like the movie Rapunzel? They'll be like, huh? And I'm like, Rapunzel. And they'll look at me like they don't know what I'm saying. And then I will show them a photo of what it is, and they'll be like, ah, Rapunzel, in like the most French accent. So I think for me, that's something funny that happens all the time.
And what do you miss most about the UK?
That's a very good question. I think I've been 2 years here in Paris now, and I don't really know anymore what I miss from the UK. I think I just miss my friends and my family because I've really adapted to being in Paris, and I feel like I have my own life here now, and I have kind of outgrown London. So I don't know if I miss much, but actually, maybe a few restaurants, for example, Nando's, they don't have here in Paris, or Wagamama's, which is really good, or even just like the KFC, it's different. We can barely get like a bucket of 20 wings here, but in London we can.
So, what have you learned about yourself since you arrived in Paris?
I think I've grown up as a whole. I've learned to be more independent. When I was back in the UK, I wouldn't really do anything alone. I'd always have to be with a friend. And now I've been able to even go out for lunch, go for a cafe, just go sit in the park and read alone. I've managed to enjoy my own company and be alone without feeling lonely. And that's something that came over time because when I first got here, it was so hard. It was like, oh, I've been with my family and now I'm in a whole different country alone. I don't know anyone, I don't have friends. And I've always been extroverted, so it's not been hard for me to make friends. But it's just not, just wasn't the same because I was used to how easy things were back at home in English. And I'm just glad because slowly as time goes on, I just feel more comfortable hanging out with myself.
Do you plan to go back to England after your studies, or would you like to stay in Paris?
This is actually a question I've been asking myself for so long. I've been really conflicted on this. And just the other day, I've finally decided I want to stay in Paris. I want to be able to continue living here because I don't think I'm ready to leave. I just really love this city. And as well, I found out that if I do another 2 years with a master's here, I can be eligible to apply for French citizenship. And with the whole Brexit thing, it's a bit hard going back to the UK because it means the next time I come here, I would have to come here already with a job, and it just makes things complicated because even getting a visa for here, it took a lot of time and it did cost some money, and I don't think I just want to give it up like that.
And talking about the weather now, yes. So, what's the main difference between the weather in England and in France?
If I'm really honest, there's not much difference, but here is always 2 to 3 degrees warmer than the UK. Whenever I'm like, oh, it's really cold here, I go back home. I'm like, it's not that cold in Paris.
Danielle, thank you very much for your time. Yeah, I know it's really late in Paris right now. Just to finish up our interview here. So, what's the advice you give to those who are learning English? I know I'm from Brazil. Yes, and many people here in Brazil they want to learn English. So, what's the main advice you give to these people? Because you speak English, it's your main mother tongue. Now you speak French, and I know you can speak Portuguese a little bit. No, so what's the main advice you give to those who want to speak English?
I would say don't be scared to practice. Like, it's good to watch videos in English, good to watch movies, or even listen to podcasts. But at the same time, when you have the opportunity to speak to someone in English, I know it's hard because you can get all shy, but you should use every opportunity you can to just practice. Because the more that you manage to speak, the better it is for you to improve.
So thank you very much for your time. Good luck with your studies in France, and I see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much for having this interview with me, and I'd love to speak to you again if needed.
Agradecemos por acompanhar este episódio do nosso podcast. Inscreva-se em nosso canal, curta o conteúdo e compartilhe para apoiar e ampliar o alcance do nosso trabalho.